You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
All right, folks, welcome back. This is the Valley Labor Report. My name is Jacob Morrison. Here in person, we've got the one and only international labor reporter superstar, Kim Kelley. So, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
No pressure, geez.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so stoked you're doing this because I was just here. Oh,
You want to talk into the mic so that people can hear you.
Yeah, I'm like only 33, but I'm like this elderly crone when it comes to technology. It's terrible. But yeah, we were just here doing some interviews with the organizers, and then, you guys are here, so we just crashed your party.
I appreciate it. The more the merrier. So how long have you been down here now?
It has been, I got here last Sunday evening, so a week and a half coming up. It'll be almost 2 weeks by the time I leave on Friday.
Okay. So what have you seen since you've been down here, with regards to the organizing drive? You put out a couple videos with More Perfect Union on Twitter. Everybody should go and check those out. One of them has now gotten 2, 3, 4 million views on Twitter. I mean, that's really cool. But I'm sure there's a lot more that happens off camera or gets cut or so. Just tell us. I know that you've got one story that I want you to hit on for sure. Yeah. The what about that lady getting arrested?
Oh,
yeah, definitely. We want to talk about that,
okay,
but
we'll get to that.
We'll get there. So what have you been seeing with the organizing drive?
It's been really wonderful. It's so hard to not sound all gushy, Pollyanna-y about everything down here, but it's been so positive. There's been so much energy. It's when it comes to a difficult fight like this, a lot of the time there's a lot of ifs. There's a lot more cynicism because it's we might not win. We have to be prepared for that possibility. But here, even though people are realistic, it seems pretty. I feel like people are very justified in being like, "Oh, we're gonna win. Oh, we got this," and it's just incredible to see. And I feel really privileged to be here and have a little window into everything that the real work that people are doing.
Yeah. Have you been able to talk to many of the workers?
Yeah, I've talked to Daryl and to Jennifer. I've definitely spent some time talking to Big Mike, who straddles that line a little bit. And there's, I think we might try and talk to a couple more workers, but it's RWSTU, the union, has been playing things a little close to the chest. And since I'm an outsider, I'm kind of just waiting for folks to feel comfortable talking to me. It's not so much I'm going to go up to someone and be like, "Hey, talk to me." Because there's, it's Amazon. People aren't necessarily going to be thrilled with the idea of putting their face on a video if they're not prepared for that. But yeah, even just the conversations I've had with workers who are down to go public, though, have been incredible. We have so much footage that the videos are little. There's only a few minutes, but there's so much in there that hopefully we get out to people to see.
Yeah, well, what have been some of your takeaways from those conversations?
The thing that sticks with me that I think, it's present in every unionizing conversation, but something that really stuck with me, the way that it was elucidated by people like Big Mike and Daryl, it's, they're able to pay their bills, right? Amazon's big argument is, we already pay you okay. You get some benefits, you're being treated fine. And it's this thought of you should be satisfied with what you've got. You should take the scraps we give you and be happy for them. And the workers here aren't satisfied with that because nobody should be satisfied with that. They're saying, it shouldn't just be about survival. We want to thrive. We want to be able to take our kids to Disney's World. Mike was saying, I want to take my wife out for steak on Valentine's Day. They deserve more and they deserve better. And they know that. And Bezos knows that. And I think that's at the heart of this fight. We know that we deserve better, and we're not gonna stop until we get it.
Right. And they're earning enough. They're creating enough value, obviously, to get that. But instead of it going to them so that folks like Big Mike can get a steak on Valentine's Day, it's going to Bezos so that he can shoot it into space.
How do you spend that much money? Literally, what even costs $1 billion, let alone $90 billion? He's just one guy. He doesn't even have a real family or people he takes care of. He's just some guy sitting on a hill. He's literally Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
what is the point besides just winning capitalism?
Yeah. I mean, it's really, well, and he's not even winning anymore. So now that he's not winning anymore, he's number 2 instead of, I don't understand why he doesn't just like call it quits and say, okay, I had a good run. I'm going to give all my money away now.
Yeah. Like Bill Gates is also disgustingly rich, but he was like, well, okay, I feel like maybe I'll try to be like a human now.
Yeah.
Like it's, what is Bezos trying to do? What is he trying to prove?
Right.
Like he wants to take over the world, but well, then what are you going to do? You're still going to be a lonely little man in your giant mansion.
Right. I mean, yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't, I was talking to this with the Reverend before, and, you've got folks here that claim to be Christian and that they use their Christianity to say things like what you were saying, like, oh, just accept what they're giving you. You can pay your bills. That's all you need. Like, you don't need any more. You need to be happy. You need to be content with what you've got. And like that, I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me, the things that we're seeing and the things that we're seeing people in their community do to fight things that are going to help them in their community.
I'm not a religious person, but I was raised Catholic, so I get the idea,
Mm-hmm.
And even just in terms of having that Christian angle to it, hearing Big Mike speak, and I know he speaks in his church, he's a very religious man, hearing him frame this fight as not just like, it's not about economics, it's not about, structural power per se, it's about morality and it's about love. Like that, like being part of this union drive, being part of this union is the most Christian thing you can do in this context, because it's people looking to take care of one another and lift one another up, stand in solidarity with one another. It's really beautiful. Like hearing him speak really touched me, and I'm like a godless heathen.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if you know this, but Josh said on our show on Saturday, he said that he used to be he used to be a youth pastor, and he sees the work that he does now as like an extension of his ministry.
I could see that.
Yeah, he gives off kind of youth pastor vibes.
Yeah.
But the president of my national union, he was a pastor in Anniston, Alabama. He was the first black president of his local. And he said the exact same thing on my show when he came on back in June. He said, the work that I do now is an extension of my ministry. And that's, that's something that I want, like, the more kind of people that see themselves and present themselves as Christian, that's something that I'm really interested in having those conversations more going forward, because it's not a perspective that you get a lot here. It's the opposite perspective that is the more, the media and the modal perspective is that I'm a Christian and so I'm against this. But, hearing from folks like Josh, like Big Mike, like Reverend Kelley, the president of my national union, who say, I'm a Christian and so I do this. That's really, really interesting to me.
Right. And there is, it is kind of a biblical scale. Like we're like the reference that keeps coming up is David and Goliath. And that's such a basic story, but that's exactly what's happening here. And, we all know who won, and we all know who you're going to root for. Right. And, if David needed one stone, out here, you only need 3,000 Union cards. There you go. It's interesting, 'cause it's being in such because I know like religion is such a big part of a lot of people's lives here. I think addressing it from that lens and in that context just kind of adds a little oomph. Because it's not just about this one fight or this one warehouse. Like no union fight is ever about, we just want to make a couple more dollars. Like we just want 5 minutes on our break. It's always an existential fight. Right.
So, we've got that kind of the mushy, the feel good, the fun kind of stuff now. So give us the gossip, the more juicy. There was somebody that was arrested the other day.
You want some tea?
I want some tea. I want the tea now, as the kids say. So tell us about that, because you were there. You were there as it was happening.
Oh my God, yeah. So the other day, I'm not sure where I should be looking. I'm just going to look at the camera because this is a tale. The other day, the video person who's right here, I don't know if she wants me to name drop her or not. I will not. But the videographer and I, we already had plans to go out with Birmingham DSA and film them putting some banners up, some solidarity banners. Going to be easy, super nice. They're great people. And as we get out there, I'm staying near the Circle K, so I'm walking out there to meet up. And I look across the street and I see 2 cop cars and then a handful of the union organizers. And like, I'm coming from Philly, like I see a bunch of cops and a handful of black men. And I'm like, okay, this seems bad. I'm going to go over and film and like do whatever I can to intervene in whatever's happening here. That's just where my mind went. And I got over there, and everyone seemed pretty calm and chilled out. And I was like, okay. And I looked over, and there was this sort of this bedraggled older white woman who was kind of standing by a police car looking a little agitated. And then the organizers were chatting with the cops. And it turned out that this woman, her name is Debbie. She is also known as Debbie the Troll by some of the organizers because she's been an anti-union presence for the past couple of weeks, it sounds like. Like, she's been out harassing the organizers who stand on that median on the way into the Amazon facility. She's been going around, like, trying to hand out... She has this flyer she made up that has her whole story about why she's anti-union. It is not something I would say is based in reality. Mm-hmm. And the thing that she got nabbed for is she's going around stealing signs. Mm-hmm. She told me that, because we went over to chat with her, we're like, what are you up to, Debbie? Right. And she had a sign in her car, and she told us, yeah, I've taken about 12 of them so far. Like, I'm going to go, I do it again. I'm going to go out and get more. And she left in handcuffs. Apparently she spent the night in jail. I don't really want to see anybody in jail personally, but I will say that I'm glad that Debbie was given a message to maybe stop, knock it off, get a better hobby. It's funny because, like, she's not a very sympathetic character in our experience there, but she clearly seems like she was not entirely well. But then I was talking about it with one of the organizers, and they were like, oh yeah, she's been posting like really racist stuff on our Facebook for the past few weeks. So I was like, oh, Debbie, I don't feel very bad for you anymore. Right. So apparently she's taken chairs. Like, there's about $1,800 worth of signs that went missing. Like, she's been a busy little troll.
Oh man.
So that's the face of the anti-union effort here.
It's Debbie the Troll.
Yeah. Like, I know if I was going to look at the two sides, I know which side I would want to stand with.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to stand with workers, or do you want to stand with Debbie the Troll? That's good. Yeah. And that's why my understanding is actually her story that we don't really have any reason to believe is based in reality. That's why the Teamsters showed up on Saturday, is my understanding, because she alleged she was a Teamster, and that, you know, there was like she wasn't happy. And so the call went out, and Teamsters were like, oh, hell no. You know, ain't nobody going to think that Teamsters ain't here for this. And so they brought a damn truck from Boston.
Thanks, Debbie.
Yes.
Yeah, on her little flyer, she identifies herself as the Teamster. And like, she said she was a semi-driver who used to work for USP or UPS. And it was not, it wasn't a great flyer. I don't think it was good. I don't think she was going to win anybody to her cause.
Right.
Yeah, God.
So we've got the good stuff. We've got the tea. Just, you know, the last thing, we'll kind of wrap it up, you know, just kind of like, what has it been like for you? You know, I mean, you're a damn Yankee coming here from New Jersey. Like, what, you know, what's it been like just hanging out in Alabama? You know, what's the vibe? Like, just how's it been for you? Like, just, you know, culturally, personally, like, what's that been like?
Well, I am a damn Yankee, but yeah, guilty as charged. But I will say, before I was like full time just doing reporting, I spent a long time touring with heavy metal bands, and most of the bands that I toured with were Southern. So most of my bands were from Georgia, North Carolina, New Orleans. So I'm very familiar with the South and with Southern people, Southern culture. This is kind of like, I miss it. I love the South. My accent and my look don't always fit in, but the people are wonderful. So the one thing that is kind of funny is that since everyone is so chatty and nice, and the fact that I have like tattoos and piercings and stuff, people are very curious about the things that are in my face. But also that happens everywhere. But people are, if anything, more pleasant about it. Yeah. A little more chatty. But and like, I will say, like, no shade, but there's not as much mask wearing as I'm used to here. Like, Philly does its best, but it's definitely a different level here for, I mean, I'm sure whatever variety of reasons. So I've kind of, honestly, I'm staying in Bessemer, like, but right by the facility. So I'm just in that little cursed circle of hotels and chain restaurants. Right. So I mostly just hide in my hotel room when I'm not working because I'm really worried about, you know, COVID stuff. And there's not, the most fun I have is when I go out and I'm talking to people and talking to workers and organizers. That's the fun part. The rest of the time I'm literally just like in my hotel room, eating minute rice and binging Netflix.
I gotcha. Well, I know anybody that knows Kim Kelley, they're going to know that she was a heavy metal reporter, and one of these days I'm going to have to get you to give me the tea on some of my favorite metal bands from back in the day. Like when I was in high school, I was a really big fan of like Under Oath, Maylene, August Burns Red, Asking Alexandria, folks like that. I really enjoyed listening to their music. Do you know who Lee Baines is? Lee Baines, the Glory Fires? They're not heavy metal, but they're like Southern rock.
Oh, no. I mean, I love Southern rock. I like the old stuff, so I'm not as up on the new stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the bands I toured with, though, they're like Southern metal, like your Crowbars, Corrosion Conformity, Black Tusk, like real low down, heavy riffs.
Okay.
So it was like very Southern fried metal, but not the most recent, I guess. Like most of the dudes I toured with, like old Southern dudes. So I got an education.
Okay. All right. Well, do you have any closing thoughts on the good stuff, the tea, or your personal experiences here?
I would hope that I come back sometime soon to see what happens. Because I mean, it's funny. Everyone's been kind of swarming around now because it's the lead up to the main event, but the main event is going to take like 2 months.
Right.
There's still so much more that's going to happen, and I'm kind of sad to be going home because I'm like, okay, like I'm finally. Like, I'm getting to know people. I'm finally getting my footing. And now I got to go back to Philly where it just snowed again.
Right.
It's like 60 degrees out right now. I'm like, I kind of like Alabama right now.
Yeah.
I don't really want to leave.
Yeah.
But, I'm a freelancer. I'm a mercenary. I kind of go where I'm sent. But I do want to follow up on the story as much as possible. And in terms of people watching, just follow our coverage. We're working real hard on these little videos, and
they're really good. You should do it. I mean, I'm sure everybody watching, like we're, a small union radio show in Alabama. I'm sure everybody has seen it. But what are the Twitter handles to go to if they haven't, by some chance? For the videos, it's at More Perfect US is the nonprofit. It's called More Perfect Union. And then I'm just at Grim Kim because that's my college radio DJ name. And 10 years later, it still works. All right. Very good. And just a teaser, we're gonna get Kim on sometime on the live show, and we're gonna talk about anarchism and guns. And we're really excited to have that conversation in front of our conservative talk radio audience. So I'm excited. We're gonna love me. Yeah, we're gonna hit him with a we like guns, and then we're gonna hit him with a but I'm an anarchist, and so pro gun, anti-government, but like in a nice way. Right. So that's a teaser for our conversation with her that we're gonna have on the radio one of these days. So make sure you're following us, you're following her, and Kim, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm excited to go eat some barbecue and bother you guys later. Absolutely. Anytime.